So we're throwing it back a bit today. I have a Sega Dreamcast here, and it's not just any Sega Dreamcast. It is a portable Sega Dreamcast that I bought from Aliexpress. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what they sent us. And now I don't know too much about this console. The description honestly did not give hardly any info at all. They had a few pictures, and it looked pretty neat from the pictures. I mean, it looked like a real Sega Dreamcast with real hardware, but we're about to find out. As you can see, it's plastered with made in China all over it. I'm assuming that has something to do with shipping it internationally. Not sure, to be honest, though, but it looks like a pretty big boy from the packaging. So we have two things here. I'm not sure why the bubble wrap is so yellow, but let's start with the little small package and see what's in here. All right, so it looks like in the small package, it's just our AC adapter. And like I said, it is a portable console, so you need a way to charge it. So I'm assuming that is the charger for charging your console. Let's try to get this thing open without cutting anything important. So let me know down below if you guys have ever played Dreamcast before and what your favorite game is. So I guess it comes in a little case, and again, it's plastered with fragile and made in China. Again, I'm not sure if, I guess this has something to do with customs. I'm not sure. It's almost like a little lunchbox or a first aid kit. It has some Velcro on the back. Dude, this is definitely a first aid kit. Hold on, let me tear these stickers off. So this right here is Mech Arena, and oh, if you don't download it, you'll be missing out because it's a lot of fun. It's a tactical team-based 5v5 shooter that's good for players of all skill levels. If you want to just pick it up and have some quick fun, it's great for that. But you can also get really deep into the customization and upgrades as well. There's tons of awesome mechs to choose from, each with their own unique abilities. You can also unlock and upgrade different weapons to equip your mech with. And if you want to add a bit of style to your mech, there's hundreds of different skins and custom paint jobs to choose from. And there's different game modes as well. Personally, my favorite is to jump into a quick match of Control Point Clash, but you can also play 5v5 or 2v2 deathmatch, tournaments, and more. There's a ton happening in Mech Arena this month, including Battle Pass Season 7, where you can pick up some sweet new skins and a bunch of other goodies. There's also Stefania, who's a brand new pilot, along with the high-level versions of the Voltaic RPGs, which are some new weapons. And Mech Arena is completely free to play on Android and iOS right now. You can use my personal link or the QR code on the screen to get a free starter pack worth $45. It comes with a mil-spec skin, 500 A coins, and 70,000 credits to help you kickstart your game. And now if you're quick, you can add me as a friend in the game and we can play some matches together, so don't miss out. So they really tried to cover it up. It's clearly a first aid kit. As you can see, it says first aid kit. That's pretty funny. I guess they're repurposing a first aid kit for the case. But I knew because, first of all, the red looks like first aid, and the back has Velcro, and usually these things are Velcro to the wall for first aid, but oh well, that's besides the point. I just thought that was pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and see what's in here, and we have more bubble wrap. And by the way, did you know this thing was made in China? So we're finally almost there, and it's looking promising. I will say these guys do a great job of bubble wrapping. I mean, you can't go wrong with too much bubble wrap, but here it is, and that thing actually looks really sweet. That is a neat product. That looks a whole lot better than I thought it would, to be honest. My first thought, of course, is, you know, they couldn't have cleaned the buttons off a little bit dirty, but not a huge deal. But as you can see, huge screen right here, probably a 5-inch screen. You've got your VMU screen right here. You have your analog stick, D-pad, start, A, B, Y, and X. All looks like legit buttons and hardware. Here in the back, you have your left and right trigger, which are not legit. Those look to be 3D printed. The screen looks good. Well, we'll see when I turn it on. You got a fan back here. Yeah, there's a fan down there you can see, and then there's, you know, your opening there. And this is how you play games. It has a GD-EMU, which I honestly don't have much experience with. I just know it essentially acts as a disk drive, so you don't have to put a disk in. And there's your SD card that goes into it. It's a Samsung SD adapter, and then we have a 32 gig Teclast. So some sort of knockoff, most likely, that they get for super cheap. And then here on the top, we have, as you saw, your SD card made in China again. You've got I guess that's your power jack, 8.4 volts. That's interesting voltage. And you already saw the back here. Here on the bottom, you have some holes, I guess, for additional ventilation. Here on this side, just, you know, more ventilation, some screws. And then same on this side. I'm assuming this is a volume rocker of some sort. But this thing actually looks pretty professional for, you know, not being official hardware. They call it a DCSX. Not sure what that stands for. Dreamcast something solutions xylophone. I don't know. We got some more holes here for probably a speaker on left and right speaker there. And looking closer, I think they might have just 3D printed this entire case, because as you can see, you've got little kind of ridges, which tells me that this is probably a 3D printed case all the way. So they matched the how a controller looks very well. I actually have a controller here that I'll compare it to. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here's the Dreamcast. Here is a controller, and you can tell it's very similar but off a little bit. I think the dimensions are just slightly off. Obviously this controller is a little bit different color, probably because it's aged some, and clearly it's very dirty. I got this from a trade-in, which actually, hey, so I just wanted to pause real quick and tell you guys that you should check out my website. It's called jrobgaming.com. The link will be down below. I sell video games and consoles. I also buy video games and consoles, and I have a new mystery discount code every single day if you sign up for my newsletter. So if you're looking to buy or sell, go ahead and check it out. But yeah, it's a different color. This is, it's old, so it, yellows and stuff, but I think this is completely 3D printed because I don't think the Dreamcast controller was ever quite that white. But otherwise, the analog stick looks exactly the same. Buttons look the same. Actually, maybe they don't. So looking at the buttons here, I'm trying to get them next to each other so they can both focus, and man, that controller is dirty. But I believe they are official buttons. I don't know. The lettering looks a little bit different on the two. Like the size is a little bit different, so maybe there's not official buttons. I'm not 100% sure, but if they're not, they did a pretty good job of matching them. And just for another size comparison, here is a legit Dreamcast console. Here's the portable, and so I'm assuming they took the board, maybe trimmed it down some, put it in here. Obviously the disk drive is not in this one because you have SD card, and I mean the size matches up fairly well, so that's probably what they did. Now let's go ahead and do what we've all been waiting for. Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on. Flip the on switch, and there it is. That's a pretty solid looking screen. Not gonna lie, man. This is a cool console. Let me go ahead and tear off the screen protector. And it's not actually a screen protector. It's like the screen film that comes by default, and I can't really get it off. It's just peeling off this little piece right here. I might try that later. I don't want to mess that up on camera. But it's clearly in Chinese, I believe. I guess that's Chinese. So I clicked on the disk icon, and it's loading up GD menu. As you can see, it shows on the VMU and also shows on the screen now. And we have some stuff already downloaded. NFL 2K. Actually, I wonder if they put everything on here. Nope, just 17 games. So we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, NFL 2K1, and it looks like it shows the disc down here. Like I said, I've never actually used the GDEMU. I just know what it is in general. So let's go ahead and try out a game. Let's go with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. At least that's in English, so maybe the game will be in English. And these speakers are actually pretty dang good. They get really loud. Like I had it on 50 volume for a while, and it's blasting my ears, so I need to turn it down. But I mean, like I said, the screen looks really nice. It's very crisp for a Dreamcast, something from the 2000s or late 90s. The VMU is always a cool device, THPS2. And frankly, I don't know how well these games run off the SD card. I don't know if it's flawless like a disc would be, because I'm not sure. I guess correct me down below if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure if it'd be considered emulation because you're not emulating it. You're just essentially transporting the data to the actual hardware via USB instead of a disk. So from that sense, I would think it shouldn't run flawlessly. Not sure. That's just my logic I just came up with in my head.
Hey, Editor Danny here, just cutting in to explain real quick that the GDEMU is actually not an emulation device in terms of like emulating the entirety of the Dreamcast. All it's doing is replacing your CD drive. So if you were to install this on a normal Dreamcast, which I would highly recommend by the way, all the Dreamcast would see is that the game is being loaded normally. And it actually has better performance than the default disc reader anyway.
But I mean, so far so good. This thing looks good. Let's go ahead and go to single session, and we'll just play a little bit of Tony Hawk. And I never actually played the original Tony Hawk 1 and 2, but I have played the remaster on the PS4. The game is a whole lot of fun. Sad that I missed out on it in the early 2000s or late 90s whenever it came out. And this thing is a beast in the hands, which is not unexpected. I mean, the original Dreamcast controller was a beast in the hands to start with, but it's honestly not terrible. So far, all the buttons work great. No issues there. I'm actually really impressed. This might be the best thing I've purchased from China so far. I've purchased a lot of stuff from Aliexpress and Wish.com for videos on my channel, and most of it is serviceable, but honestly junk. This thing is pretty dang cool. I finally got the corner of the screen film to start peeling, so let me give you this satisfaction right here. Ooh, that is always satisfying, and now the screen looks even better. So I guess the only way to go back is to turn it off and on, as far as I can tell. So I'm trying out the charging port now. I believe when you have it unplugged, it shows as green right there. When we plug it in, it shows as orange. Well, it was a second ago. Well, maybe it's already fully charged because the AC adapter is not doing anything, so I guess I'll try that again once I've played it some. So I took a pause and kind of messed around with this thing for a bit, and I gotta say it's pretty awesome. And I did explore this power brick a bit more, and I think the green light is when it's not plugged in, and then it turns red when you do plug it in. So I guess we're essentially using the power brick light to indicate whether we're charging or not. As you can see, it's red now, so it should be charging. And I did actually add a game. There were 17 games here. I added Crazy Taxi, downloaded it, and put it on here, and it works great. I've had no issues. I've played a few different games. I've played NFL 2K1, NBA 2K2, played Crazy Taxi for a while. There was something else on here I played as well. And I mean, everything works great so far. The Crazy Taxi game I downloaded was a GDI file. The other ones have been CDI, so those are compressed a bit, but I haven't seen any issues yet. And I know some people in the comments will probably not like this is a widescreen, but honestly, I don't mind widescreen. It's looked pretty good to me.
All right, just cutting in here again to explain that the screen is actually normally outputting something closer to like a 5:3 aspect ratio instead of the traditional 16:9. And then during some games, it looks like it's doing more like a 3:2 sort of thing. I don't really know why it's doing this. So it's not as bad as if you were to stretch the normal Dreamcast out to a 16:9 widescreen. I don't think it looks that atrocious, but it's just strange that the designer of this console decided to go with this weird in-between screen size.
I will note that there is a hot spot right here. It's not like terribly hot, but it is kind of hot, and I don't know what component's in there, but it's probably what's causing the heat to concentrate on that point. But overall, this thing feels pretty nice in the hands. It's not quite as good as an original controller because it doesn't have, the kind of like contoured grips. It's just like a big block. But it's not terrible at all. It's actually pretty good. And I really like this thing so far. So next thing I want to do is actually open it up and just kind of take a look inside. So I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Now let's go ahead and take those out and we'll see what this thing looks like on the inside. All right, got the 4 screws out. Let's go ahead and see which side pops off. All right, so it kind of just comes apart together. Not sure if I should have done that. It looks like the cable management doesn't really allow for this to be taken apart very easily. As you can see, the cables are basically strapped across there. So we have 2 different boards here, and the cables are basically, like I said, strapped across the 2 sides, and they're pretty taut right there. So we have our motherboard battery right there. I believe that just keeps track of time and that sort of thing. Here at the top, we got our screen, as you can see. We've got our controller right here. I mean, everything looks pretty clean. My main complaint is the fact that these cables are kind of just straddled across the 2 sides. And down here, you can see a few of the battery cells. And then there on the back, you can't see it because I'd have to take this piece off, but the GD-EMU is back there. And yeah, I mean, overall it looks pretty clean except for the fact that the cables are straddling across the 2 sides. So let's get this back together carefully. So there you go, guys. I gotta say, this thing is pretty sweet. Honestly, don't have any major complaints. The VMUs work great. All the buttons work great. The only thing to note about the buttons is the right and left triggers are not the best, but they're actually still pretty solid for just being 3D printed. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this thing. I don't really have any major complaints. It did cost about $500 or so. I'll throw the actual price up on the screen because I don't think I mentioned it yet. But considering this is a custom portable, I don't know that that's too terrible because this takes a long time to put together and stuff. I'm actually not sure where this portable is sourced from because I saw multiple sellers on Aliexpress selling this thing. So I don't know if there's one person making them and they're all selling them or what the deal is there. But it looks, pretty professional, to be honest, with all the grooves and everything here, and looks like a Dreamcast controller here. So let me know down below what you guys think, and thanks for watching, and have a great day.